All right, so Taberne Talks, episode 24. And it's always nice to get a realtor who's been in the business, who's experienced. I know I've had a lot of the new guys come on recently to tell us their adventures of how it is starting out in the business in this crazy market. But then I like to go back and get somebody who is actually mentoring people and, knows the business, has been through some of the markets already, and is in probably in one of the craziest markets that we're in right now. She knows too. So Lindsay Good from Compass, thanks for coming on.
Sure. No, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So give us some background first. I know you're with Compass, right? She's in the main line, which is a huge office, one of the best, I think. Right?
The best.
Yes. So, but you didn't start there. So you tell me where you started, then we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So actually, I started in real estate. I've been in the business for 13 plus years now, I think it is.
13.
So 13. I know. I can't believe it. And
so that's 2011.
Very
Wow.
good. So yeah, I started in the worst time to get in the market.
Yeah.
So
2012 was a tough year.
Oh yeah. And 13 and 14.
Right. Yes. Yeah, they all were.
So it was, so I started at Century 21. My brother really got me into the industry. So I have him to really thank to
Shout
get me
out
started.
to Colin Good, right? There we go.
Absolutely. So started out at Century 21, very small boutique little brokerage right there in Manayunk area, and spent about 3 to 4 years there before I went off to Keller Williams.
Okay.
Keller Williams was where I also want to put out, I'm not one of those agents who's kind of jumped around, but I have been at 3 different brokerages. So I went from...
Actually, that's nothing. All right, in 11 years.
I know, but I'm always pointing that out.
That's like amazing.
I know.
You even did that.
Have some loyalty here.
Right.
So
we can tell.
So yeah, Century 21 to, it was changing over to Long and Foster. And then we went to KW because we wanted to assess and kind of see what other options were out there for us.
Okay.
So we chose to go to KW.
Now, did you go to KW Philly, or was it mainline, or
it was the KW mainline office. So
Yep.
yeah, and I actually stayed within. I went from KW mainline, and then I actually did break off from KW mainline, went into Center City and joined a different team.
Okay.
But I stayed within KW itself. And we stayed with KW, which I loved my time there. It was great. It was kind of like the next step of what we needed when we got into real estate. When I got into real estate, to kind of get me to like the next level.
Good.
And then we jumped ship. 2020, basically on the pandemic day. The day they announced like the pandemic was starting was the day that we basically told KW we were leaving, going to Compass.
So was that already in the works, I guess? Or?
It was already in the works, but it like almost kind of looked like we just jumped ship on the worst day possible. But it was something we had kind of been thinking over and mulling over for about 6 months to probably say closer to a year.
Okay. So it was already in the works, kind of.
Yes.
But that was just doomsday.
It was
for the whole world.
Doomsday.
And then, go ahead. Right.
And I just remember that it was when I spoke to some people about this decision, it was the whole team we left to go over to Compass for a couple different reasons. But people were like, what are you doing at this time? Like, this is the absolute worst time in the world to be like doing this. And I said, actually, sometimes change is the best when you're kind of like in positions like this. And Compass was very tech-centered. And honestly, going into the pandemic, we couldn't have chosen a better time.
Right.
We needed that.
Yep.
So,
and their name was getting big at that time, too. Like,
it was
bigger than it was before that. Right?
It was. And they're definitely known for more, the luxury brand behind them. And they're coming from New York, where they started. And I just think our team really wanted something that was going to kind of take us to like the next level in terms of like luxury buyers and sellers, and also just kind of elevating our experience so we can provide our clients with better technology. So,
and your clientele has actually gone up because of being there, right? I mean, some of the deals I'm sure that you're closing are a lot bigger than you would have closed in maybe even KW.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the technology actually has brought me referrals. People specifically do refer within Compass because Compass is just known to be a higher level of experience.
Right.
So I've gotten a lot of referrals, and I used to get them at KW as well. So I don't want to discount my time there, but they really do pride themselves on referring in our network if possible.
Good.
And we also pride ourselves on the service. We really want to take our service up to the next notch. So it's definitely taken my price point up and my average price point for both listings and buyers. But also just the technology has honestly helped out so much.
Great.
So yeah.
And I mean, the main line obviously is hotter than hot right now, right?
It's
I mean,
the
Philly,
suburbs.
we're in the suburbs, right? Anywhere
insane.
in the suburbs, from Delaware County to Montgomery County to
Yeah.
you name it, I'm sure it's on fire.
It is.
And then you come in
fire.
the city here and everything is sitting, for
I mean,
days and days.
Good
right?
stuff is still selling in the city. Like good inventory is still selling.
Okay.
But not like the suburbs.
Right.
It's insane.
There's no comparison.
No,
Right.
no.
So when's that going to end? Like, is that?
Hold on. Where's my crystal ball? Hold on. It's like
I'm going right for the throat here. I want to know from an agent like this, who's like, we have a lot of Philly agents on, right?
I know.
And I've had Jersey agents on, but I haven't had the mainline craziness agents that have seen front line of the main line right now.
Oh yeah.
And what's going like?
I mean, I'm basically all over.
Has it slowed down at all? How about that right now?
I mean, it has its moments where you feel like it's kind of slowing down in certain pockets, but it's really school district driven.
Yeah.
Obviously, we find that out.
Right.
Everyone knows that, but I mean, it's kind of slowed down a little bit because interest rates like last fall, but then now it kind of revved back up going into the spring.
Right.
And because buyers have really kind of accepted where the rates are right now.
Sure. Right.
And also like people.
And the rates are starting to come down right now, actually, a little bit.
Like
Right.
a smidge. Yeah,
It
they
helps.
are.
Everything helps.
Everything definitely helps.
Right.
And also I think interest rates definitely have kind of, I mean, some buyers still haven't returned and there's like, I'm just going to rent or I'm just going to maybe relocate or change up everything. So some people have kind of reevaluated their next steps with
I
this.
think a lot of these prices are really high though, right? So
Oh yeah.
a lot of these people can't afford.
Oh my God. My last offer I just put in, there was only 2 offers on that one. We won it actually. Thank God.
When you have 2 offers,
It was
you
great.
win,
It was
that's
great.
nice. Right?
It was great.
You hopefully will. Right?
But that same buyer had been through a couple multiple offer situations and we lost out on one that went, I think it was $100K over
go.
and waiving inspections. So it's just like,
$100,000 over asking.
I mean,
So that's still happening over there.
it is in certain areas.
Right.
It is. So they shifted. We went to another area and then we
Right.
ended up getting something
Right.
for around list price.
How do you feel about people waiving inspections?
I know I get this question a lot. And
I put her on the spot. All right. I went right for the throat on that one too. I want to know because everybody has a different opinion that I bring on here. A lot of people are like jumping out of their seats saying, I would never tell my client that. Are you crazy? I always tell them to get an inspection. Then I have other ones saying the only way to win right now is to waive the inspection. Right. So what do you think?
I mean, both of those points are right on. I mean, there's really, honestly, in most situations, like you honestly might not ever win a house if you don't waive. In some situations, I should say. Not every situation, but like a lot of my buyers have like, we've done walk-in.
They have to waive.
We waived, but we've done like a walk and talk before. So we've done like, saw the property and then we had an extra day before. We knew we had to get the offers in. We might have a little time. So if we have time, that's key. Like
They do a little
advantage.
survey of the property before they actually put the offer in.
Exactly.
Okay.
So essentially they're doing an inspection, but they're doing it before they put the offer in.
Yeah.
So it's like they have more confidence going in.
Yeah.
But honestly, I mean, if you have to just really, they have to feel confident knowing that like, if people have like the reserves or stability of the jobs and just other factors really come into play, I think they can feel confident if they have education or if it's not their first rodeo and it's like their 5th house.
Right.
Okay.
Then
maybe
you feel better.
Exactly.
You feel better. Right.
And I can,
if it's a first time buyer who's wet behind the ear, it's a little bit
it's
scary.
It's
sure.
so challenging. You know, you know you're going to get a call. I just don't want to get that call 6 months, 1 month.
Yeah.
I mean, a year down the road with like all this regret. So
You don't want to get a call from their parents either. Right?
the parents too.
Because we get the
Mr.
calls from
Mrs.
the parents.
Smith.
The loan officers always get the call from mom and dad saying, "Why did you give my son this rate? Why did you charge him this? Why did you do that to him? You didn't tell." I mean, so we get it too,
It's
and I'm
true.
sure you get it. Right?
so true.
Especially the first time buyers.
Yes, it's true. So the first time home buyers, they've definitely got their work cut out for them. A lot of them just have to set the expectations up front and just have them prepared to know that they may not win the first one. They may not win the second one. I mean, heck, when I was looking for another house in the suburbs as an agent, I have inside track and knowledge and everything. I still didn't always get the houses. I had to go through 3 houses in the suburbs before I got a house.
Yeah.
And I actually knew the listing agent every time. And I tried to everything I did, it didn't matter. Like cash buyers won 2 of them, and then I won the 3rd one, thankfully. So
On the way here, I had a client text me. She had put in a few offers over the weekend. And, like Tuesday, 5 o'clock was the deadline for all the offers. And 5:30, she texts me and says, I still haven't heard anything. And then 15 minutes later, she texts me and says, we lost. We unfortunately cannot compete with cash. Right. And that's what's going on right now. And she said, we're going to take a break. Now she said, we're going to take a 1 or 2 week break. We're going to step back because we're so annoyed. And I think that's what's going on.
It's just frustration. I mean, rightfully so. Everyone's just frustrated. And there's
I don't even know what to say to them either. As a loan officer, I've been sending out pre-approval letter after letter after letter.
I know.
Change the thing, do this, which is fine. It's our job. But you feel for them when you get that text because she was really into it. And then here they are getting me beat out by cash on an offer that they spoke to the agent. The agent kind of gave them some hope that, you're going to probably get this one where we feel like you're in the run. And then here comes a cash deal at 5 o'clock on Tuesday and takes everybody out.
Yeah. You just,
it's an unfair market. Right?
It really is really unfair. And
you as a realtor though, are you seeing these investors come in with all this cash, buying these houses up, or what's going on there?
I mean, you're hearing I just heard the other day that Atlanta's one of the largest suburban markets where it has the biggest influx of investors taking over.
Yeah.
And I don't see that here as much. I mean, you definitely see investors coming in, but investors are really going after distressed properties, and buyers are scared. I'm not scared of that stuff. And most of the investors I work with are not, obviously, as well.
So in the main line, you're not seeing them come in with cash, these corporations or whatever coming in and buying stuff.
I mean, in some situations you are. But you don't always know all the details of all the other offers. I mean, as the agent, unless the listing agent discloses that. But there are some investment groups out there who are investing and buying some of these in cash. Absolutely. But it's usually distressed, value add, or a massive property, something where they might be able to subdivide the lot. It's just usually situations where it's not always competing with the first time home buyer or the repeat buyer. So I find it's a little bit different.
All right. I have a quote from you. I want to see what you think about it. All right. So you give me your opinion. All right. So Grant Cardone said today that Americans should rent instead of buying a home. Okay. That's if you're 30 years old or younger. The average cost to maintain a home is $4,200 a month. That's the mortgage payment plus your expenses, your car payments and stuff like that, versus you'd only pay $2,000 a month in rent. What do you think of that statement?
I think buyers really have to navigate this themselves, where they have to decide if this is the right time for them. I think most people are moving out of necessity.
Yeah.
Or just really need to they just really want to plant roots in.
Yeah.
I think it's always a good time to buy. Unfortunately, I'm always going to have that opinion, just because as a homeowner, you have extra tax write-offs. You can house hack. You can get a roommate and help subsidize your rent, your mortgage. There's just so many ways you can get creative about it. I think people are very limited with their ways and just, I'm going to go buy that perfect house. That's where I'm going to live forever. And it's going to be an expensive house, but hey, get 2 roommates for the first couple of years. Or I don't know, so you can rent out some sort of space of your house, or you can maybe even create, another rental unit within your house and turn it into a multifamily. I know that's kind of out there in terms of it might not fit for that house, but there's options.
Sure. You could do it.
I think there's
He
always
says the
options.
American dream is no longer for younger generations. I mean, that hurts to even hear that. This is what's going on.
I mean, do you believe that?
I do not believe that. I think
know.
that's terrible.
I know.
Even put that in the media.
I agree.
It really, it hurts to people to hear that, and they think to themselves, "You're right. I'll never buy." And that's just.
I agree.
It's going to hurt everybody. It's going to turn into a renter's nation, right? If you continue to pump that in the media that if you're under 30, you can't ever buy a house.
Yeah, but there's so much news out there.
Just
out there. I mean, if you can find anything that kind of fits the story of what you're looking for, you can find anyone who's it's always a good time to buy, it's always a good time to rent, or it's the best time to rent, or whatever. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there now. There's just an influx of information.
Are you seeing more first-time buyers get in right now, or are you still seeing them on the fence?
Kind of 50-50 on that. I think I've seen more come back in, but they're definitely coming in stronger. If they've already were in the market, they're back in. They're I'm ready to I'm taking this serious now.
Right.
Just because rates are probably not going to drop. We all know this year is probably going to be a year where I personally don't think interest rates are really going to fluctuate too much end of this year, knowing what's going to be happening, in November. But maybe next year there'll be some sort of change. But there's always going to be an opportunity where you could always refinance in the future. But I think there's definitely more buyers coming in just because they think there's, there's definitely a value in owning, and there's other.
What's good about you is what you just said. You're not a rate driven realtor.
100%.
You don't care.
Can't be.
Right. You're just saying, whatever.
I wouldn't be closing any deals.
That's what I mean. Right. She doesn't care. She's not saying, well, the rates are 8%, so no one's ever going to buy anything, and let's just do a package.
Yep. I know.
Right.
So
because
I
you were
disagree
already
with
in
Grant.
that high rate environment in 2012, 13, 14.
Yeah.
We were in high rate environments then.
Absolutely.
Right.
I know. I forget about that.
We were in 6s and 7s in 13 and 14. 6s we were in.
Was it?
And then
it was
high
that
5s.
high.
And then we went into the 4s in like 15 and 16 and stayed in the 4s and the 5s for a few years until the pandemic hit.
You're right.
So we saw higher rates. I mean,
What was the highest rate you ever had?
I started in, I know, right? I don't even want to say that. I started a long time ago. How about that?
Well, give some perspective for people.
In 99, so it was 9%.
Okay.
8.75.
So still higher than where we are
It
today.
was higher than that.
So that's
People were
great.
buying. The only difference was the house prices were,
They were a lot cheaper. Yeah,
right.
I know. And
as
that's the
everything
problem.
was cheaper.
Yeah.
So it was, we weren't doing $500,000 deals. Like if you were buying a $250,000 house, it was like a mansion.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
At a rate of 8.75%, it was like a really nice house.
Oh yeah.
Now 250,000 buys you, as you know, right?
Depends on which market you're in.
Right,
California,
I don't want to
garage.
comment on that. Right? I'll get myself in trouble on this show, and then I'll never have any clients again. So let's just keep moving. All right. After that, all right. So listen, I brought you on because I want to know what's going on the street, heading into the summer.
Okay.
All right. Obviously, you're in the main line, right? But you're doing business in Philly too.
I'm still based in Philly, even
Is your
though
brother doing business over here too in Philly, or is he doing more in the main line?
he's more like Roxborough, Manayunk, Upper Montgomery County, like near Conshohocken, Lafayette Hill, and like a lot of us we dabble over into the main line. I got started in Manayunk, Roxborough, and I have a core business in Center City still, so I'm kind of still considering
You're both sides, right?
Yeah, both sides.
So what are you seeing right now? Is you feeling better than you did 6 months ago when it was really gloom and doom at one point? And
I think I definitely feel I feel like the market's gonna it's gonna continue. I mean, houses are gonna continue to sell no matter what.
Sure.
So
that's my line. People will always buy houses.
People always will buy houses. People have to move. Situations change. So there's always going to be a need for a house.
Good.
So I think you're going to see maybe, I'm not sure what's going to happen between the city and the suburbs. I mean, the suburbs, something has got to give eventually, because it's just getting to the point where I think it's just the bubble's going to burst. The city.
Is there any inventory left over there?
There is. I mean, but everyone, I mean, I get calls. How many calls do you get a day about your house?
Constant.
I mean, it's just nonstop. And honestly, it's just, clearly that's an indicator that the inventory is still low.
Yeah.
But I think eventually, I mean, maybe even the fall, things will usually, the summer kind of remains strong. And then going into the fall, things tend to slow down a little bit, especially going into like November.
Yeah. Well, you have the holidays coming, right?
Yeah, holidays, but also like some of the other factors going on. But I think it's just, I still feel strongly that the market's going to continue. I think it's just certain agents are going to progress and continue, and other agents are just going to get frustrated and probably just throw in the towel.
Are you seeing that already?
Oh, 100%. I mean,
they said 45% of the business is gone right now versus where it was last year.
But
that's a fact. 45% are gone between loan officers and realtors. Gone.
It might be a
plus
plus for
higher.
us.
It's a plus for us, is right.
I think
which is bad to say because people are out of a job.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm never trying to I think it's just the people who are the part-timers are gone.
Yes, they're gone.
The people who just thought this was the quick money business.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I got in the business when the market was at the lowest, and everyone's like, "You're quitting a job to go be working commission when a down market." And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So, obviously, I think some agents are just gonna throw in the towel, and I'm not one of them. And I know my teammates are not that, and that my teammates are strong too. And I know we're all gonna weather the storm.
The ones that are doing the business now are the ones that were in it for a career to begin with.
100%. There you go. Right there. It's a career. It's not just a quick job, temporary job.
They were in it for a career to begin with. So that's why they're still doing good, because it's business as usual.
Yeah. Business as usual. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So, I'm going to jump to one because this is the one that, heats up every week here. And, I'm sure you're ready for it. Something's coming on our plate in July or August, one or the other. We don't even know when it's really going to come. It could be delayed another 6 months for all we know. You don't know what's going to happen, but it is a burning question that I even get asked, and I'm not even a realtor, and people
Mm-hmm.
are asking me what I think about it. Will it affect a loan officer in our business? Obviously, it would. If realtors get out of the business because of this ruling, it hurts us because that's where we get our business, right? So I think
100%.
it's a domino effect for everybody, title companies and home inspectors, and everybody's going to hurt if realtors are hurt,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you guys are the top of the food chain, and then it goes down,
Absolutely.
right? So this is going to be a big thing if it's a really a major shot like they're saying. So the NAR question, right? What do we think of that? And do you think, are you worried?
I mean, I think everyone, like the dust is settled now, or kind of, sort of. It really hasn't officially taken effect because there's still things in negotiation right now.
Right.
There's still constantly news about it. So there's going to be some things changing in July or August, whatever it is. But I'm not, at first I was a little worried. I'm not going to lie. I was like, what's going to
Wow.
happen? I
All right.
was.
Good.
I had some conversations.
This makes me happy to have a human being here who says they're worried. Right? Well, actually, I had one guy, which I'm not going to name names, but he was really gloom and doom to him about it. And he was, then the most of the people are like, Alex, I'm ready. Bring it on. I was never
I mean,
ready.
it's just another challenge. It's just a challenge. We just have to navigate it. It's just
that's good.
It's. I mean,
So you were worried at first. Go ahead. I mean,
a little worried. Oh no, you're fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, lenders are worried too because obviously if we get affected, you get affected as
Big
well.
time.
So
Everybody.
I think just NAR. I think there's just a lot of moving parts with it. And I think the strong agents are going to survive. I really do. I think the strong agents are going to like show their value. And I think just too many agents kind of coasted. And I think I could admit that I was maybe coasting at one point.
Well, I'm sure everybody was.
There's
when you have
definitely
rates of 2% and 3%, right? It's easy to
the
coast.
refi boom, I
We
call it.
didn't have to leave our
is-
living room, and the deals were just flying through the windows, and it was a party.
It was. I mean,
Right.
And honestly,
that party ended.
that
and-
party ended.
Right.
It definitely clearly ended. But I think I think just agents now realize you really have to convey your value so much more now than ever. And I think just the days of coasting are gone. You really have to get out there. You have to show yourself. You have to also, I mean, I shied away from video for a certain portion. And I know you've been good about
But
you've
look
been great.
how good you've been on video.
I'm trying.
Your videos have been great, and a lot of it is informational.
Yeah, it's
It's not like you're just walking around a house saying, "Well, let's buy this house." And a lot of them are
Very true.
informational videos.
Well, I just honestly, like, I put the ball back in my, I was like, if I was a buyer, what would I be looking for in information? Like, what are some fun things?
Yeah.
But also, like, I like to bring a little humor.
Yep.
So I don't want everything to be so serious out there, but I want like a
Yeah.
little humor and
Good.
just to show the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
But then also provide some like good resources. So they're like, oh, okay, that's great information. Like the NAR. Also talking about like how Philadelphia, you don't have to make $100K to buy a house in, which I think people thought you had to nowadays.
Right. Well,
And
that's what they see on the media, right? That's what
100%.
everybody sees what they see, and then they believe it.
Yeah. So it's just, I think so many people, there's just a lot of information that they can, so
But
I want to
this NAR
provide
thing,
some.
you hit on the nose. You got to show your value. What
Mm-hmm.
do these people don't have the money to pay these commissions is a big worry. I think like, great, I sold Lindsay
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be your realtor. And yeah, I want to use you as my realtor, but I don't have another, 3% or 4%, whatever it is. Each one is different. I'm sure 2%, whatever you charge. I don't have that extra money
Yep.
on top of my down payment, my closing costs, the transfer tax, whatever it may be.
Yep.
Right. So is that going to be the bigger problem other than just having to sell yourself, which I think you can get around that if you're a good salesman. But if people don't have money, they don't have money.
It's true. But there's also going to be some solutions on the lender side for this too.
Right.
I'm not saying we have to fall back on
Upping the
this,
concessions or building into the purchase price and things like that.
but I think, again, if you show your value, people pay for services. I mean, when I go out there, I hire a CPA. I could do my taxes on my own.
Yeah.
I pay someone to do it, and I do multiple returns. So it's just, I pay for that. I mean, if I'm not going to go into a courtroom and defend myself, I'm going to hire a lawyer. There's certain services I'm willing to pay for. And I think, this is for most consumers, not all investors. I think investors don't always see the value in agents.
Okay.
I think we
Well,
all
that's
all
easy.
can agree with that.
Right. I think I'm talking more of the first time buyer
yes,
again.
100%.
We're getting back to,
Yes.
who are limited on funds.
Absolutely. Well, I
know.
think most people will see the value in an agent, and you just have to get creative with it. Some agents, you might have to take a little bit of a hit sometimes. I'm not trying to say this to have everyone reduce their commissions, but also in some aspects, it's all about the
Listen,
client.
we reduce our commissions every day.
100%.
Loan officers cut this, cut that fee to make the deal work. You have to cut your commission to make the deal work.
100%. I mean, clients, it's all about the client. If they want the house, and honestly, they're going to give you repeat business.
Sure.
There's been tons of times where I've had to like work situations out, get creative, talk to the lender.
Yep.
Just talk to your broker, talk to your resources. You should have a good plethora of people around you to kind of converse with, to kind of brainstorm.
You can't hit a home run on every deal.
You can't. So
right? You gotta, in order to do volume,
oh yeah,
you have to cut your fees and cut this and do that in order to do volume.
But you always see it come back in the end.
Of course, because you get the volume, right?
Always
or you get
do.
somebody who's, they refer you to someone who could be a bigger house and bigger, whatever it is.
100% down the road. I mean, I always just look down the road as much as like, I do worry about my commission right here, but also it's client focused. I'm always trying to I'm too genuine. I think sometimes I just sometimes wish I had a little bit more of that salesy person in me, but I really authentically care about people, and I don't want them to buy a house or invest wrong or overspend. You don't want to see them
get screwed either. I mean, because they're going to come back to you.
100%.
That's your reputation. Even though you work for Compass, you're your name, right? So if you leave Compass, they're going to remember. They're not going to say, "Well, Compass." They're going to say, "Lindsay's messed up."
Absolutely,
it wasn't Compass's fault.
Oh yeah, that happens. I feel like sometimes, no matter how good you are, sometimes people are mad. But just realize
everybody's mad. Everybody is mad. Everybody's angry right now. All right. I deal with them all day. Everybody hates everybody. All right. They hate me.
It's a tense market right now. It's really
tense. It's beyond tense.
Yeah.
Everybody's just on edge. Everybody is not a happy camper.
We're just trying to get to the closing table.
Right.
Let's get there.
Right.
So we're all, yes. So.
All right, good. So, this NAR thing, you think it'll weed out even more of the business?
I think it will. I think we're just going to see the strong agents survive. And I think people are going to leave the industry because there's too much uncertainty around it. But I know there's a need for agents. There's always going to be a need for agents. Yeah. People need representation to make sure they are not screwed over, essentially. Right. Not a polite way of saying it, but I don't want people to get screwed over.
How about the agents going directly to the listing agents now, or the buyers going directly to the listing agents right now? Is that going to happen? It's
like essentially dual agency. You're gonna see that too. I mean, you see that with investors already, but and I've handled a couple dual agency deals on my own. It's a lot of work, but also I don't feel like you can truly represent both people. Right. And really look out for both the seller and the buyer. Right. Can you really do that?
I mean, guess they're trying to do it, right?
I mean, they're trying.
I mean,
in some
to
situations,
me, you're selling against yourself, right? Because your best interest is for the seller.
Yep.
If you're the listing agent, why would I want the buyer to get it? I'm trying to make the seller get the better deal because I'm selling their house. I'm the listing agent. Yeah. So you're not going to give the buyer the inside of, this is the number you need to come in.
No, you shouldn't. You're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to, right? So it's all against the,
the rules.
Right? So that shouldn't be happening. But I mean, it's very hard to do. And I think a lot of these listing agents don't even want to be buyers agents. I don't think a lot of them want to deal with buyers at all anyway.
I know.
I talked to a lot of listing agents who are like, Alex, I don't deal with buyers. I don't want to. I don't care to. I want to just be a listing agent.
And I understand that. It's a business model to be one side or the other. I do deal with both. But I think there's a strategy behind working with only one. But I feel for buyers right now. I truly do. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's good. All right. So bidding wars, we're going to get back to that because I think, as I said, I just read a bidding war that one of my clients were in, and I'm dealing with all weekend. We're doing, weekends have been busy for us again.
Yeah, nonstop pre-approvals.
Nonstop
running numbers.
Constant Saturdays and Sundays, which is the name of the game. I think if you work the weekend, you'll get the most deals because you come in Monday and Tuesday and the contracts are waiting for you because they're accepted over the weekend, right? So, but the bidding wars are starting again here.
Yep.
We got to go 50,000, like you said, 100,000 over, 50,000 over. A lot of people watching this show, I know, want to know how to win a bidding war, right? What is the secret sauce?
I can't give out all my secrets. Oh my goodness.
Lindsay, I brought you on to unleash here, okay? We didn't bring you on to no secrets, all right? We are.
Step one.
Everybody take notes, all right? Because she sees this stuff. She knows.
I've been in many, I was telling my team the other day, I was like, I think I wrote up $5 million worth of offers that weren't accepted in the last couple of months.
Right.
So
I believe it.
And obviously there's lots of ways. I mean, obviously you have to think about, bottom line is a lot of sellers, they only look at price. So if they're only looking at price, you're not going to be able to like really win out in other options.
Yeah.
But knowing like what sellers are looking for in a deal, like knowing when they want to close, increasing your escrow deposits, making it so it's painful. So like if you were to back out, like the seller wants to see more skin in the game. So having larger deposits. The love letters are pretty much out now.
So it doesn't work. That's gone.
That really
was big
frowned
in the
upon.
pandemic. It was big in the pandemic.
It was, but it's really frowned upon.
Like they don't want to see that.
Well, it's just more so you're not really supposed to put those in the offer anymore. So
you're kidding me. So it's not even allowed.
Because people can put their pictures and you're not supposed to like kind of like get the whole picture of everything. It's just,
I get it.
So, okay. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've done love letters over the years. And if a seller is open to seeing it, I mean, technically you're not supposed to submit those anymore. But I mean, bottom line is you can do escalation clauses. There's extra language you can add into contracts to also really, buffer appraisal gap, offer an appraisal gap coverage. You can do inspection for information purposes only, or honestly, a lot of my buyers have won when they've done walk and talk inspections, quick first, and then we get an offer in and we can waive inspections if it's that competitive an offer.
Okay.
So those are a couple of the
biggest ones
ways that you can definitely win. But there's also there's definitely a couple other ones I'd recommend clients it's always depending on the situation.
Sure.
So every house is completely different.
These bidding wars, obviously some of them get really crazy.
Yes.
People get mad and, and I see it and I'm not even the realtor and I see these people really flipping out that, they should have won that offer. And, they feel like a lot of shadiness is going on behind the scenes. And, why don't you bring this out? But there's just a lot of people calling people out on Facebook saying that, that the listing agent's not presenting the offer to the seller. They're holding on to them. They're not even, they're waiting to sit on the market even longer to wait
shopping
for
the offer out.
Right. So are these things going on? I mean,
I mean, I'd like to think that most agents, obviously realtors, have ethics we have to follow. But I mean, I can't speak for everyone out there. I know that I'm always, number one, you look out for your client and getting the best, the highest dollar for them. So you also could accept an offer sooner, even if you had more offers coming in. If your seller wants to sign an offer, they have the right to sign an offer.
Right.
So it's just, you definitely have to kind of every situation is different. Though.
You know what I hate is when I get an accepted offer. And this is what I hate, right? I get an accepted offer, right? And the people are really ecstatic. They're like, Alex, we got it. After 17,000 pre-approval letters, we got this one accepted. 17. All right? That's great. And I feel wonderful. I'm like, all right, when we closing? 20 days. I mean, it's going to be fast. And I think to myself, I got a quick closing coming. Great. Mm-hmm. Right?
That's
the
a
contract
good one.
never gets signed. Right? So you get that verbal acceptance. And then I'm hounding the agents to say, well, I need an executed contract to start the deal. Right? Nobody's responding to me. Right? And then the buyer's agent will come out and say, Alex, we're waiting. The seller hasn't signed it yet.
Oh,
right?
no.
Okay.
That's not good. That's
right.
not good.
You know where I'm going.
Yes. I know where you're going with this.
And why does this happen?
I think
they're waiting for another offer.
Well, I mean, you have to set your client's expectations. Like all my clients know, until I get an offer signed back, even if I tell them, hey, they've verbally accepted our offer, nothing is a deal until I get the contract back in my hand and actually send it to them.
Exactly.
So nothing's done.
Right.
So, I mean, all my clients know, they're like, did you get the contract yet? We haven't seen anything come through.
Right.
Like they know.
Right.
So
you prep them.
I prep them because I learned my lesson very early in the business where I did lose an offer one time, and they were shopping our offer around, and the agent I was working with was a good agent, and I would never name this person, but I know her, this person, and I'd work with them again, but still it was really kind of shady. And my client.
Well, then you get the phone call saying, well, we actually have a higher offer. And even though we verbally accepted yours within 3 days.
They just said they accepted our offer. And I was like, wait a minute, you said we had the offer. So yeah.
I mean, so you were cut out no matter, there wasn't even a chance.
I was like, wait, we'll come back. And he's like, or he or she. We didn't even have a chance to revise.
Well, what was their name? I'm sorry.
I said he. Okay, he.
Okay,
It was a he.
I'm sorry. What was his name? Not that
I was like, wait a minute.
We'll make sure to have him on next week, George. Let me line him up right now and see.
But
we'll get his point of view next week and see what he says about this whole thing. Now got him.
well, all I want to say is it was a big lesson that also like in this industry, it's all expectations. You have to set your clients' expectations up front.
Yeah,
as you know.
right. I just, too many times I'm seeing it come back and they say, they accepted another offer. They verbally accepted ours, but they went with another offer. We even tried to come up and they just want to stay with the other offer.
That's insane.
And that's happening a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
you're definitely going to
seeing
see
it
that
happen a lot, which sucks.
It does. It's really frustrating with
And I think the number 2 deal killer is in home inspections. Home inspections are killing deals.
walk and talks. That's why the walk and talks are so great because you can kind of know before you get under contract, and then it's really not going to be. It's really you're worrying about the appraisal at that point.
But why are a lot of these agents allowing these houses to be listed at these conditions that are not going to pass unless you get a cash guy who's going to buy it just as is?
I mean, because we're in the market where you can. I mean, ugly houses are selling in a good market.
Right, so it doesn't matter.
I mean,
right. So you figure whatever, fine.
In 2011 to 13, ugly houses did not sell. Like they were literally dropping. I mean, good houses sold.
Yeah.
But like now, I mean, it's the amount of houses that I'm like, you'll never get that price. And then I'm like,
and they get it.
And they get it. And they get like 50K over. And I'm like,
more.
wait a minute, what's going on? But people are kind of, I think it's depending on like location, school district, where it is, if it's like just best location.
All right, so I'm getting $50,000 over what I thought I would ever get in my life. It's a piece of junk house. They do the inspection. A lot of stuff come back that needs to be fixed. And then the seller says, I'm not doing anything. And it kills the deal.
Yeah.
But you're getting $50,000 more than what you would ever get in your whole life.
But now they're already thinking, oh, my house is worth the 50K more. That's what the seller's thinking.
Right, but the problem's in the place is falling apart.
I know, but they have to like redisclose that. They go back on the market, but some sellers are willing to negotiate, but not all. Some are just, it just depends on like, we have some greedy people out there, greedy sellers. And unfortunately, buyers sometimes are gonna either have to figure out how much the house is worth it to them or figure out like, okay, I'm willing to meet in the middle or work something else out. So compromises should work.
What are you telling sellers right now that are worried if they list, they won't have anywhere to go?
That's a good question. So
that's the number one question because I think that's the biggest problem.
I actually have that right now. I have like probably like 5 or 6 listings that they really want to buy first before they sell. And it's really just, and then a couple of them need to sell in order to buy. So it's just like, it's complicated. So in some situations I've told them, I was like, you have to explore your options where maybe you sell and rent temporarily. Maybe you sell and then go live with family or friends. I mean, you have to kind of explore options. It depends on how much.
You make sure to explore those options with them before they list.
Absolutely. Because I don't want them.
Don't even.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
And then they're just like stranded and they're just going to.
stranded.
And they're stuffed in a movie.
And then the other one washes their hands and they're gone. All right.
I mean,
this is what's going on.
Well, if they're moving to another market, they're probably just like, oh, whatever. It's not my problem. But a lot of times. But most people's situations, it's like they're usually buying and selling within the same area where you can serve both sides. So I'm not always referring them out to somebody else. So it's just,
I mean, you gotta have that conversation with them, I think, right up front and say, listen, where are you planning to go? I do want to see you not on the street. I got my commission just for selling your house. And then you're you're homeless and have a nice life.
Oh my God.
I think that is that the biggest hurdle right now? Like, where am I going? Because there's no inventory to go to.
I think that is definitely one of the big hurdles for a lot of sellers because they know that, I mean, also people are a little confident. They think their houses are going to sell. So sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, we have a little work to do at your listing too before we know it's going to absolutely 100% sell. But it's definitely a hurdle. And I think you just have to explore all the options. I think renting is still a temporary housing is an option.
Yeah.
Because like also that puts them in the best position when they're going to buy.
Yeah.
If they don't have, they're not contingent because we both know. Are you winning out in the suburbs with the contingency?
Never. And I think there's a problem with that right now. I'm seeing a lot of contingencies.
Oh, are you?
A ton of them.
Interesting.
In Jersey, big time. Big time that they want to buy. They already want to make the offer on the house, but they got to sell their house.
It's not gonna fly.
You're never gonna accept an offer on that house that you love because you got to sell your house first. Well, I'm not gonna put my house on the market until they accept the offer on the new house. It doesn't work like that.
Well, I mean, you just have to you have to get the other listing. Like you can if you're ready, they can start looking, but you better have your house ready to go to list. Like the second you go under contract.
I think a lot of worries is they'll list it and then they have, again,
Exactly. They know where else to go.
because I don't have an accepted offer on something.
I
And
mean,
they think they need the accepted offer first and then they should list because they at least know they have somewhere to go.
well, one solution I've found is some sellers, if they're buying new construction, we have that extra time period in there where we can get their house ready and we
Right.
have like, say, 6 months till settlement.
Yeah.
Great. This is awesome. So we can get it on the market. And then we can also let them know that we're selling this and we have to have like maybe a rent back
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah.
we're not settling till this date. So there's options. I think just people have to know what their options. I don't think people know all their options and they just assume.
Oh, the education is terrible right now. There is
It's-
no, most, not to put down agents because that's my bread and butter, right? But a lot of them aren't educating what they should be educating
Yeah.
with a lot of these clients to tell them what the next steps are, what to do. Unfortunately, and loan officers go the same thing. I mean, they're not educating the clients on what program to pick or how much to put down or what the payments are. Like they're just pushing them into contract.
They're just too focused on that sale sometimes, where I think it's like you and I both are more really geared for protecting our clients and
You
making
have
sure
to,
we
because we've
look
been in
after
it a
them.
long time and we know what it's like to get burned. We know what it's like for people to come back. You don't want that phone call.
No,
I've got it.
definitely. I've got that too.
You know, I
It's
mean,
not fun.
it's not a fun phone call. So if you're listening out there and you're newer,
Yeah.
you don't want that phone call because they will come for your head and
And
they're
you
not
will-
happy.
And you will never get those referrals.
You'll never get a referral.
And that
from that whole
referral,
family.
the
Right.
referral turns into that referral, this referral. So you want that constant down spiral of like referrals from them.
Yeah. So what's going to happen in quarter 3 and quarter 4?
Oh, biggest question. I think Q3 is going to continue. I think
just the
we're
same as what we're
it's
doing right
same. It's the same. It's just going to continue.
And then
through
will
the fall.
all hell break loose in quarter 4
I mean, well,
when the election hits?
I think the election, I kind of look back to like 2020 was a different year. So we can't really even compare to that
Right.
year. But
Right.
I think the election will definitely kind of like slow things down because people do have a little like, they're a little reserved around that time period typically. So you'll probably see a little bit slow down in the fall going into the winter. Winter usually slows down anyways. But I don't know. It really depends on like how things go.
You know, I've been
So-
sticking with rates will go down at the election time. We will see the Fed
Maybe
cut.
a little bit, but I think
The
but-
Fed might cut.
I will look for you for guidance on this because
Because I think they will. Because I think they're going to be pushed into a corner now to cut.
it's true.
To make it look good.
To make it look good. It's true.
Right? And then, no, the rates are going to come down to 3%. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a quarter point or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But people hear that.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, wow, the Fed cut the rate.
And they're
Things
going to
must
like
be-"
run out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
I hope
think
that.
that is what's going to happen. And then you might see 6.5 or whatever it is, or 6.25. You might see that.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I know.
Take it.
I would take it all day,
Take
every day.
that right
I tell people that, and they're like, "That's still too high." To me,
Those
it's a
people
good
aren't
rate.
serious then. They're
It's a
not
good
serious.
rate.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a good rate. I think, yeah, to your point, I think we could see a little bit of a down, like the interest rate might fluctuate a little bit, but I still think, I mean, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. All we can do is tell our clients what we're seeing happen.
and you don't seem to care anyway because you're just going to be rolling anyway.
Exactly. I honestly, houses will still continue to sell, as I'll say every day.
Didn't you said your sister just got licensed?
Yeah, she did.
So she's
a
got a
newbie.
family thing going on here, right? She's got
I
a
know.
brother, her sister on one team. You guys must be either
Killing
killing
it.
each other or killing it,
Yeah.
one or the other.
The goods are taking over Philadelphia. So it's a family
which is
affair.
Great, which is great. At least you
Yeah.
can trust each other, right?
Yeah, it's
There's
great.
no backhandedness there, right?
Yeah. It's great though. It's kind of cool seeing it from, she's coming in. She's like, what is going on with everything, the NAR? She's hearing about all
Did you
this
tell her
stuff.
she's not going to close the deal for a year? Or
I told her, I was like, buckle up.
Does she have a nice savings account or something, or some type of slush fund in order to live off of for the first 6 months? Maybe
she's got a husband.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's perfect.
But you know what? She's a hustler. She's like another good. We're the goods. We hustle. We don't get stopped very easily. We have drive and we all want to succeed. So she'll thrive. And also she's got us to support her. So, she's going to do well. And I think I'm excited for her. I'm really
How
excited.
many realtors are you mentoring right now?
We have a team of, I think 17, 18 of us. And I'm helping out probably like at least 5 to 6 of
That's
them.
great.
But a lot of them are seasoned. But people do call myself for like advice on deals. Honestly, with all these multiple offers, I get calls probably every other day about like what to do with an offer. And even some agents, even not on my team. I mean, agents are branching out and talking to other agents. Like, what are you seeing? How can I make my offer stronger in this situation? So mentoring definitely like a few agents.
Do you get annoyed at all when
No,
like
I love it.
Really?
I like thrive off of like helping agents. 'Cause I remember when I was a newer agent, I basically called my brother. I called my brother probably every 5 times a day and asked him questions. Like I was just like, I wasn't afraid to ask questions.
That's good.
So as I told all new agents that we work with, I said, don't be afraid to ask me any question. No question stupid. Everything. I probably asked every question and 10 times more questions than you've asked. So I think it's important that you always ask as many questions as possible. But yeah, I don't get bothered by it at all. I mean, agents are always gonna have questions because every deal, as you know, every real estate deal is
it's a twist
different.
and a turn. It's a twist and a turn. You need a mentor. There's no doubt about it. You
100%.
cannot do it on your own.
Yeah,
You
even your industry too.
Right, same thing. I mean, I would never think of starting alone in this industry right now with no person to tell me what I'm doing. I think a lot of the problem is no structure. A lot of these agents and loan officers just wake up in the morning and they really don't know what they're doing. Like, what am I supposed to be doing today?
I know.
Do I just go out and somebody's going to buy a house from me and I'm going to go to the closing and take a picture? And like, I don't think they really know what we do or how to do it.
I think it's true.
What's next?
Because there's not like a playbook.
There's no playbook. There is
It's
none.
like, hey, you have your license. Here you go. There's a laptop, or by the way, all these fees you have to pay right up front.
Right.
It's like it's very overwhelming, and it's just every other job you go, you have a mentor, you have someone to follow, you have your 2 week of training, and real estate agents, like we do have that in some brokerages. You have like a boot camp, or we have training with our agents. But I mean, also agents have to show up, and not all agents are as driven because they're not forced to do anything. So in a job where you're paid 9 to 5, whatever it is, you're paid, so you have to be there.
Yeah.
Real estate,
This
you don't
job, there is
have
none.
to be.
No, there
you
are
don't
no
have to
hours.
be. You have to have the drive. If you don't have the drive, then I mean, pack up your bags and go home.
Right.
Because
Right.
you're
That's
gonna
when
be,
I think that's a tough thing to.
Yeah.
You can't teach that.
you can't teach
I
that
can
at
teach
all.
the guidelines all day, right? I can teach you how to what a mortgage is, but if you don't have the fire to go out and get some deals and do some stuff on your own and meet people and all that, you got a problem.
Absolutely.
You're not going to make it.
I know. I mean, there's so much about this industry that it's just you don't really learn until you're on the job.
Yeah.
And I thought there was like, oh, give me the playbook. I used to ask my brother, I'm like, what do I do every day? What do I do? I'd come in, I would show up every day.
Yeah.
Even though I
That's
know
good.
it wasn't essentially getting paid. I was treating it like I was supposed to be
Yeah,
there every day.
no one gets paid for anything
No
here.
one gets paid.
And there are no salaries, right? There's no hourly. There's no nothing. Like I have a newer guy with me, like I said, Anthony, and he's learning that there is no paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just you close, you get paid. We don't close, we don't get paid.
Absolutely.
Sad. There's no set hourly.
No set hourly, and honestly, you just have to like just roll with it. And honestly, you have to be driven. So,
I have a side note before we go. FHA loans. I don't know if you do a lot of FHA. I'm sure not in the main line. They don't do. They probably shoot them offers down there.
No,
they see an FHA or VA, right?
VA, I was gonna say VA is the other one.
VA is another one that's tough to get accepted. When I hear a VA loan, you're not going to get it accepted.
Yeah,
right?
It's tough right now.
Yeah, and FHA is the same way. But FHA, a lot of people going FHA get gifts towards their down payment and their closing costs. They did away with asking for the donor's bank statements. Like they wanted a copy of the person giving you the gift, their bank statement. And if there were large deposits in their bank statement, they wanted to know where they came from, even though that person wasn't even on the loan. Okay. So FHA now has done away with that. They said, we don't need their bank statements anymore. It's just a gift letter now and a copy of the gift check, and you're done.
Oh,
so
pretty easy.
Actually something positive. You're right. Something
positive.
Simplified because we have a lot of FHA buyers in Jersey that we get. And I think that's a stickler. Like, why do you want to see my mom's bank account? My mom's giving me a gift. There's no reason to look at her bank account. And then you're asking her where her deposits are coming from. Like, she's not even part of the loan.
I mean,
she's just giving me a gift.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it got. So now FHA came in and said, we're going to do away with that. And I think you're going to see little tweaks and turns like that as we go into the new year with getting rid of things to try to simplify the business, because I think they got really strict over the last couple of years. And that's because of, what happened. And now I think you're going to see things change.
Okay. I think that's a positive though.
Which is a positive.
It's a positive.
All right. So last thing for you, what's in the future for the good crew?
The good crew.
Are you the good crew? I hope.
The good crew.
Right. I like that. Actually, that should be like the good crew. That's
I know. Well, we're on the My Philly House team too, but we
right.
are
There you
our
go. We
own,
can pump that out. The My Philly House team, right? Which
My Philly House team.
Yep.
We got like 17 plus agents on our team.
That's great.
So no, I mean, what's in the future? I mean, right now
Compass, I think, is getting a little bit of negative publicity right now.
They are, but I mean, the thing is, like, I only see positive on our end. I mean, they are so helpful. I mean, the technology is. I don't want to like just turn this about like all the technology to Compass, but it is the main reason why I'm there. Their technology is way beyond anywhere else. But I mean, for me, I mean, our team has been pushing and moving along. I mean, we're just trying to like this year, our focus is to really kind of maintain business and continue to grow. I mean, but I think a lot of agents are in like a maintaining status right now because it's been a challenging year. It really has been. So I think maintaining and kind of trying to grow, maintain your relationships. I'm licensed in PA and Delaware, and I think Delaware was like
Delaware's blowing up. I think right now. I'm getting a lot of deals in Delaware myself, which I'd never gotten them before, and all of a sudden we're starting to stack them.
I referred so much business out to that state. I was like, why am I not licensed? I went to school there. I spent half of my summers down there. I was like, I should have this
I think everybody wants to go there maybe because of the taxes being low,
Taxes,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Real estate taxes are lower. And also it's great for retirees down there. But prices overall were a lot cheaper down there.
Right.
But they're not as much anymore. But still, it's just, there's a lot of benefits of going down there. So that's where I've kind of like wanted to expand.
Okay.
I want to get my license down there. I'm probably gonna have my license in Florida one day too soon. So I don't know what my plans are for that just yet, but really trying to expand myself.
You do a deal down there, you're never coming back. Right?
I know.
Stay there.
I do like the sunshine. So
the good team expands to Florida and stays in Florida. Never comes back.
Well, my brother and sister will probably be in this area forever. But I'm like kind of like the wanderlust. Cool. I bounce around, but I really want to expand and be in other states and really expand my business. But I really want to make sure I'm staying in touch with all my clients and kind of serving them to the best of my ability, and also really kind of growing our team to kind of make sure everyone is relaying the same value proposition, that that we all kind of stand behind the same value proposition.
That's good. That's good.
And I think the value has gone away a lot over the last couple of years. So making sure consumers see value in the real estate agent is really what's important to me. Right.
You guys got to defend your name, basically.
Yeah, defend our name.
Because you guys are under fire constantly right now, which is crazy to me.
It's but also I think you guys have gone through a lot.
We've been through a lot too. They cut our commissions and redid our structure 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was. And it was the end of the world like this.
It was the end of the world.
It was. We were all out of a job, and it wasn't going to be, I was going to live on the street and all that stuff. And here I am, 5 years later, business as usual. Now we're talking about it with realtors, and then it's going to be the same thing 5 years from now. Realtors are going to say it was business as usual.
Absolutely. I think
it just keeps going.
Keep going. House has got to continue to sell.
Right. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Was she awesome? Right? You wanted to hear what she had to say. She gave us what we wanted to hear. But I think the main line is one of the hottest areas in the suburbs, obviously, of the city right now. I think if you want to go see a good team, someone who is in the business, has been in the business, been through the market, isn't brand new, and will do you right. Her brother's really a good guy too, so I think you got to go see these guys. And,
thank you so much.
Hopefully we run into each other very soon. I'll bring you back on in a year from now and see some of this stuff ever came true. Or
awesome.
You better be in the business too.
It will still be in the business. I am not leaving.
That's good.
I'm a lifer.
Awesome. All right.
Thanks so much.
I'll see you guys next week, and thank you again.
All right. Take care.
See you.
Bye.